Hey, Hurley's not the only basketball story in Kingston, you know. Yeah, I'm talking about Danny Hurley. I got an email today from a friend of mine who said, hey, you got to look at this list. Danny Hurley, the head coach at URI, men's basketball, of course, the fourth-rated guy that's going to be, recruited for another big-time job after he wins the A-10 championship. Well, first of all, it's not that easy to win an A-10 championship, so that's never in the bag. And second of all, he just bought a house. So how's that for you pundits out there? But he is not the only story basketball-wise in Kingston these days. After a year, Coach LaForce is a force, and she is here. Yes, she has the women's program, which is caught fire and which is a source of serious Ram pride right now. She's my guest. I'm honored to have her this evening, so stay tuned for that. Little sports touch. Tomorrow night, Eddie Kirby, the local golfer who's heading to the Senior British Open. He'll be my guest tomorrow evening. And on Friday, Brad Faxon. Yeah, the Brad Faxon. So I'm sick of the politicians for a few days, you know? You don't mind, do you? Let's go to my state of mind over here. By the way, I'm Dan York. You know who you are. Nice to have you. And don't forget, you can see us on Fox Providence now at midnight, as well as MyRI TV twice at 7:30, 11:30. 3 chances. All right, let me get this list that's annoying you on the side of the television there. The mystery continues. It's unbelievable. We don't know how a woman ended up 5 feet in the air, just sitting there, reading her book on the Salty Brine Beach. Here's the headline from the DEM press conference yesterday. It's not explosives and it ain't cable because the wire that they pulled out of the beach was cut off and dormant since 2007. So still, they have no idea. You know, the woman from Waterbury, Connecticut, who came here for 30 years, she says, and won't come back because of her experience, lies as a kind of marketing liability for the state of Rhode Island. She's not going to end our tourism economy in one fell swoop, but you got to be a little bit more diligent in handling this stuff on a hand-to-hand marketing basis. And Governor Raimondo is showing a bit of nonchalance that, frankly, we shouldn't be comfortable with.
Would you put your beach chair at the exact spot where that woman was sitting?
I think I would. It's funny you said that. I went to the beach this weekend. I went to that beach that happens to be the beach where I take my family. And we felt fine and safe, other than that I was constantly telling my kids not to swim so far out. So, yes, I feel good about it. We just have to keep working until we can figure out exactly what happened.
Look, I don't blame her or the DEM or the state police or the feds or whoever it is for not being able to figure out what the explosives are yet. But they got to keep, I mean, what caused the explosion yet, but they got to keep going till they get the answer. And by the way, Governor, all due respect, you go to Roger Wheeler Beach, you've made that kind of a public thing. This is the Salty Brine Beach. It's down a ways. It's the same ocean. Okay, next item here. The mayor of Boston and the Donald are at it. Why? I have no idea. Marty Walsh was asked about Donald Trump, and here's the BostonHerald.com headline that kind of started this whole thing. The mayor of Boston says the following: I don't agree with him at all about the Mexican comments that are now so famous. I think his comments are inappropriate, and if he wanted to build a hotel here, he'd have to make some apologies to people in this country. Oh, I didn't know that you were the purveyor of all that could do business in the city. You know, elected king or mayor, Marty? What is that? In the meantime, the Donald never walks away from a fight because he's got a narcissistic complex problem of some kind. Trump on Walsh, apologize or you'll be fired. I don't know who Marty Walsh is. That was his first quote. Here's the rest of it. And I don't know Marty Walsh specifically either. But everyone's saying I'm right. I expect him to apologize to me, and if he doesn't, the voters should vote him the hell out of office. Very diplomatic, Donald. And one of the reasons some people are very worried that you could actually contend for the presidency is that you will re-aggravate every tension in the world in about 10 seconds. A little diplomacy and a little thin skin, a little thick skin might go a long way. Nonetheless, he's first in the polls right now on the Republican side. Out of 15 candidates that say, I want to be the president, he leads at 17%. Jeb Bush, 3 points behind. So at least for the early phenomenon, it's working. Hey, listen, we've been talking about truck tolls and the costs of roads and bridges and the infrastructure problems. I caught this headline today. I just wanted to make mention, just in case you were worried about getting tolled. It's coming closer than you think, because if they get those gantries up and start to toll the trucks, we're soon to come behind, especially when Washington tells us we can't pass existing financial bills for infrastructure We have a systemic countrywide problem, and Rhode Island can count on having less money. So there's even less money in the budget now. That fall session to determine whether or not we're going to toll trucks looms even larger. Now, this is an interesting story. Even in tough economies, you hear this from small businesses, but this was kind of unique. The Woonsocket Patch has this story about Jim's Deli. Jay's Deli, same thing, I think. Anyway, it's a really good shop, but they can't get any good help. So they put this sign on the front door and closed, not because they weren't doing business, but due to the repeated unsuccessful efforts to hire a full team of quality associates to join us at this location, we've made the difficult decision to temporarily suspend operations at this location only. And then they say, if you want a good job and you're reliable, call them. And by the way, they don't pay minimum wage, they pay more. Interesting study. We'll have to have the owner of Jay's Deli in to talk about the dilemma. And finally, I don't know what's going on here, but the Today Show gave this company in Wakefield a lot of publicity when it was first started. Mommy Milk. Do you get this? Look at this headline. WPRO exclusive. Heartbroken moms fear fate of breast milk sent to Rhode Island jeweler. I mean, you look at that headline, you think, wait a second, that's... Okay, so if I understand this correctly, this woman starts this company in Wakefield. She takes breast milk and turns a few ounces, so you pump it out. I don't even know what to do with my hands here. You pump it out, and then somehow she's got this process where she makes pendants, jewelry out of it, and sends it back. And so you wear a piece of jewelry that reminds you of your childbirthing experience. Well, I guess she got so many orders that she's not being able to fill them, or some problem, and some moms are really upset.
Someone has taken like one of my organs. This is something that was supposed to nourish my child, and now it's gone. I don't know where it's at, and that's what scares me, is that I just don't even know what happened to it. If something like that ended up in a trash bin, for all I know, that would break my heart.
Okay, look, I'm a guy, and I can be a chauvinist, so I will temper my commentary here. Although I had 4 sisters, and I have a wife and a daughter, so I have estrogen all around me. I have to be careful on this. I'm confused. You pumped out the breast milk, you shipped it to a company on a lark to get a pendant back, and now you're I get that this is a consumer problem, and the Attorney General's office ought to be in there figuring out why people are sending money for a product that they weren't made good on. I get that part. But you are at a loss because part of you is now... Could you tell me on your state of mind whether or not you understand the pain? And just dial me at 228-1886. Email me at stateofmind@myritv.com. Facebook. Listen, I'm just a dumb jock anyway. I have feelings. I'm going to shut up. When we come back, the head coach, and I'm not asking her about it, so don't think that just, okay? I'm not. The head coach of URI. Seriously, the women's basketball program at URI is on the move and quickly. Sometimes it's difficult to make these kinds of turnarounds, the likes of which this program saw this past season. And I love to talk sports, and full disclosure, I am the public address announcer at the men's basketball games, and have done a women's game or two in the past, but I have caught some of this ball, and it's pretty good. Here's a headline that kind of reflected just the 1 year growth of the program, and a little bit of a look-see. Team in action. Where's that? That's not. That's on the road. That's. You can tell by the color of the uniforms and the building. It looks like Bryant to me. It is. It must be Bryant. See. Coach LaForce is with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure
It took me a while to get you up here. The business of running a basketball program on the Division I level, men's or women's, is a big business, isn't it?
Sure is, yeah.
What have you been doing? Like recruiting and all that kind of
Yeah, a
stuff?
lot of recruiting. We spent the first half of July out on the road. I was in 5 states in 7 days. Spent a lot of time looking at the class of 2016 and 17. So We've been working hard.
8 years at Northeastern.
Yes.
Lots of success there. You came in with, and a lot of folks had high expectations, but this time they were matched. 17 wins in the first season. A thrill, yes?
A pleasure, absolute pleasure. It was one of my, better coaching years, and it was all because of the people that I was surrounded by. Great players who were passionate, about the game, and wanted to win, wanted to do whatever it took to make sure that we won some games. Great assistant coaches that work extremely hard, and just a great administration that's very supportive.
All right, sounds like the typical coaching cliche. But it is true. The environment around your program right now is everyone's very bullish on what you've done, but you're bullish on the support. It really is a yin and a yang, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I've been involved with rebuilding a lot of programs. Northeastern was involved with rebuilding the St. John's program back in the day. So I've learned in order for everything to go the right way and rather quickly, you have to have the support. You have to have kids who, want to buy in and want to, represent the program in the right way. You have to have tremendous support from the administration, facilities helps. There's just so many things that have to come together, and fortunately for us, it came together rather quickly at URI.
You really feel good about these young ladies that are playing for you, and I'm not going to get into the details, but Coach and I got a chance to bump into each other after a men's game during the season, and you were ebullient about the relationship that you felt that you had developed, even with some of the seniors. And it's hard for a first-year coach to come in and make that traction with the players that have been there for 3 years, because they kind of know what's going on, and the old coach was thrown out, and without getting into the details, because it was kid talk.
Right.
You were really excited about the idea that they were thankful that you were there.
Yeah, and sometimes when you take over a program, you don't know what you're going to inherit, whether it's bad team chemistry or, attitudes or kids who are just upset about the change. But none of that was there. They were very excited about a new opportunity, a clean slate. The team chemistry was just tremendous. They got along really well. They spent a lot of time together. And no attitudes, kids who just love basketball. Okay, now for those who are loyal listeners and viewers of my work product, all two of you, I try this out on every coach of women. Okay. It's a theory that I have. When you, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because you said they spend a lot of time together. I learned something a long time ago. Long story short, I was coaching a high school varsity girls softball team. Okay. And I was coaching them like men, like boys. They made mistakes, I ran them. Right. Newt Rockney speeches. Hold them accountable. Played them Hoosiers. Yeah. Did the whole thing. Right. Lost them. They quit on me. Really? Went to a friend of mine and said, who has 3 daughters. I have 1, he has 3. I said, Joe, I don't know what I did. He says, dude, you've missed it. Yeah. He said, women must have social environment to compete. Men develop social environment from competition. I totally agree with that. You do? Yes. Which is why we see kind of a real energy, women's athletics, in basketball and softball, and there's a, there's got to be a vibe or there ain't going to be any productivity. We're all in it, family type atmosphere, a lot of support, a lot of love. So you got to go to the movies together. Yeah, you have to spend a lot of time together. No cliques. No, not at all. It hurts the team. It hurts the team. We spent a lot of time off the court together. They were at my house for barbecues. I wasn't even home a couple of weeks ago, and they were in my pool. So, they have to feel like you care about them off the court. It's not just about basketball, but it's about developing the person. And they got to care about each other. And they got to care about each other. Because if they don't like each other, they won't compete well together. No, not at all. So, you have to make sure. So that's kind of a golden rule, right? Yeah, you have to make sure the team chemistry is there. And it's positive. But do you see the distinction between men and women in that sense? I do. Men are just, they just want to play. And then they'll beat each other up, and then we'll have a beer. Oh yeah, the girls we have to like each other in order to okay. So happy. my theory sticks. Yeah. So how do you make that work when you come in first time around? Just letting them know that give them confidence and encouragement and motivating them to be better and want to be better. We just spent a lot of time talking them through being better basketball players, not spending the time on the court getting them to be better basketball players. So I think the mental aspect to the game is so very important to women,
And I just knew, based on my experience with rebuilding programs, that you have to really pay particular attention to the mental aspect and development of women or girls in order to get them to turn a program around.
And I would think the mental aspect is also important when it comes to actually, putting a game plan together. The thing I like, some of my very chauvinistic friends who don't understand women sending breast milk to, I told you I wouldn't answer that. But women's basketball, it's too slow. No, it's not too slow. It's not too slow for me. And the mechanics of the game are actually more recognizable to my skill set back in high school. The men's game, even the URI men's basketball program is so fast, and there's so much athleticism that dominates.
Right.
You have that element too, but game plans matter, right?
Yeah. Game plans matter. Being fundamentally sound matters. It's not about jumping and dunking and running fast. It's about really executing and really putting yourself in a position to be successful based on your movement, not necessarily your athletic ability.
Are you finding fundamentals? A lot of sports fans and people who really know all sports are seeing a deterioration. Listen, society is getting a little bit sloppy just in doing the right thing all the time. I think it's kind of permeated the sports world. Fundamentals, a lacking trait. Are you finding that?
I do, and I think with the AAU now being such a money-making business, AAU programs, they just want to get involved in tournaments and play, and not practice. There's little practice involved with, AAU teams and AAU programs, and I feel like that's where some of the fundamentals should be taught, and is not being taught. I mean, practice really is where, all players really learn the techniques of the game of basketball. But without practice, by the time they get to our level, we have to spend more time working on, finishing with the left hand on the left side and dribbling the right way. Basics of the game that's just, kind of lost. So I think at that level, AAU, even high school sometimes, I think the fundamentals of the game really should be taught there and really emphasized a lot more than it is.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about the team specifically, what happened last year, and why you should attend many games. Stay with us. Coach LaForce in action, dialing up a play. How many plays you got ready to go versus what you're chalking up there? I love to ask basketball coaches that. How much freelancing are you doing on how to go? All right, you go there, you go there, you go there, you go there.
It depends on the IQ of your players.
Right.
It really does, because I've tried to whip up something real quick in the timeout, and they go out and
what did I just tell you?
And then
I told you to throw it there.
And the fans are like, why did she tell him to throw it there? I'm like, I didn't tell him to do that. That wasn't me.
You can't sell them out. Speaking of the fans, talk to me about playing in the Ryan Center. The facility is beautiful, but I often do wonder whether or not a more closed environment like the Keeney Gym with some noise and all, it's hard for women's programs that are growing in fan base. It's a rock and a hard place, isn't it?
But a lot of universities are having their women's team play in big arenas.
Right.
So when it comes to recruiting, we want to stay competitive. If they're going to another school and they're seeing that they're playing in an arena, and then they come and they see us playing in Keeney, they don't make the correlation that
so that's a race.
Fan base.
You're not. That's a rat race. Well, it's not a rat race. The point, you'd love to be able to fill the building and get more and more people in there.
And I think the more we win, the more we are involved with situations like this where we can get our program out in front of the public. I think we will fill it. I mean, I go to the men's game not only to support Dan and the boys, but I just marvel at the number of fans that draw for their game.
Right.
And if we can just get a fraction of that, it's going to be great. But that's something I think, if you're passionate about the game of basketball and if you're passionate about URI, you will want to come and support all their athletes. It's just something that I think should be done. And these girls are working so hard. I mean, they're really putting forth a great product. They're working hard in the classroom. They're great student athletes that need support. And I think, it doesn't cost much to go to the games. You could bring the grandkids, the kids, and, nieces and nephews. I mean, it's a fun event. And I think if people see not only the fun that they could have there going to a game, but also realize that they're actually helping the team be successful by being in the stands, I think, we'll get more fans that way.
Look, I mean, some of the high school games, the girls' high school games, are very well attended. And so I would just tell you that if there's no better program. I mean, PC's program, first of all, I mean, college basketball around here is fertile. We got PC, we got URI, we got Brown, we got Bryant, and all four programs on both the men's and the women's side provide great you know, mentor opportunities for the young girls that are coming up.
Yeah.
But it's worth the drive down to Kingston.
It sure is. It sure is. And they're working so hard. And you know, we were in a lot of close games this year. One game we were down by 16 in the second half, and one game we won in overtime. And the difference, Dan, was the fans.
Really?
I mean, they were behind us every basket we made.
Well, it doesn't take many to make the building loud.
Not at all. Not at
That's
all.
True.
And you know, we filled the
Well,
bottom
heck with
bowl.
Keeney. What am I asking that
No,
question
we don't
for?
want Keeney.
Dumb.
We love the Ryan. We will fill the Ryan.
The last year, winning season 17 and 10, yet postseason didn't happen for you. Right there.
Right there. Right
disappointing.
there.
In fact,
Very
you told a story in the spring social you had with the boosters that the girls all kind of sat around waiting for their bid, didn't get it, and used it as a learning lesson.
Yeah, waiting for the phone call. I mean, we were practicing after our last game. We kept practicing every day because we thought we were going to get the call to be part of the WNIT. And, you know, I had to call them into the conference room and tell them we didn't get the call. And they were very disappointed. But I think it made them hungry. They've been working extremely hard in the postseason because in the postseason, because we want to be relevant next year. We want to get that phone call next year, whether it's the NCAA or the WNIT. And that's our source of motivation right now.
You won your first ever A-10 tournament game last year.
Yes.
Those things are not small accomplishments for a program that had been struggling for quite some time.
But a very hungry program, you know, a very hungry program that wasn't satisfied with losing. You know, they wanted more. And, you know, I just happened to come at the right time where, you know, they followed my lead and I put some, you know, good, program in place in terms of the offense and the defensive structure. But hungry kids,
The business of women's college coaching, is it as personnel intense as the men's side? In other words, you know, are people talking to you about the next step already and all that kind of stuff? Or you're good?
I'm good. I've been coaching for 20 years, and like I said, this is the best year I've had in the coaching business, and a lot of it is because of where I am, because I'm in Rhode Island, a beautiful state. I'm very laid back, great passionate people, wonderful people. I'm coaching at an institution that is in a great league, the A10, very competitive. Got a great facility like the Ryan Center, an opportunity to really rebuild and still be relevant. I'm not going anywhere. This is where I want to be. And, you know, like I said, my next step is making sure we could get some fans in the seats. But other than that, it's the best place that I could be from.
Well, you know, just getting your energy, having met you and having you on the show, if I'm a mom or a dad and I'm sitting in the living room deciding if I want to send my kid your way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I want to send my kid your way. You can just kind of feel it. All right.
Great.
Well, give me a 20-second out message to everybody. We'll have you back during the season.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, I'd love to come
when
back.
you're not running around trying to build the team.
Yeah.
But what's the message you have for Rhode Island about what you're doing?
You know, just winning the right way. You know, doing things the right way, taking care of the kids, representing the program positively, both on and off the court, and we need the support. We need this small, beautiful state to come out and support our women.
All right. Congratulations on your start.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Wonderful.
All right. When we come back, just one more thing. Tell me that coach isn't a breath of fresh air. Holy cow. But I'm telling you, that program is on the roll. And don't forget the kind of following UConn has for its women's basketball team. So really cool stuff, don't you think? All right. Hey, speaking of, we've just got a run on sports conversation. Eddie Kirby, just a Rhode Island renowned pro, going to the Senior British Open coming up next week, will be my guest tomorrow. And as we look at the video there, yeah, there was an all-star game last night. I just wanted to remind you, Red Sox fans, that should you make a run, you had a home field advantage in the World Series since the American League won. Right? See you on the radio tomorrow at noon on WPRO. Thanks.